anything I do in life, I try to figure out how to like get somebody else to pay for it or create newfound income to pay for whatever I want to do.
What's up, everybody? Rick Phan here. Welcome to the Fan of Life channel, Fan of Life show. In today's interview, I get to Zoom and sit down to talk to Austin Rutherford. This gentleman is wicked smart. Sorry, I'm from the West Coast, but I'm going to go ahead and say wicked because he is. He's 28 years old, not even scratching 30 yet, already a multimillionaire, owning multiple businesses. And today we talk about how he transitioned from being an aspiring NBA player onto the world of real estate and real estate investing, and now into mentorship, coaching, and being a force to be reckoned with in social media as well too. Because social media, as I'm learning, is not about just dancing and showing pictures of your food. It is a full-scale, legitimate business. And without further ado, we're going to dive right into it with Austin Rutherford. Austin, what's up, man? How are you?
Fantastic, brother. Appreciate you having me on today. Looking forward to it.
I appreciate you. I know you're a busy guy. I think you just got back from Mexico, right?
Yep.
And you did a function there, a real estate function there?
Yeah, so we do vacation masterminds, 3 to 4 of them a year, where people will fly into different places, usually in the Caribbean. But we'll do a mastermind and collective genius type of thing.
That's beautiful. Not a bad place to learn either. So
For sure.
So I'm sure you guys squeezed in some fun with a lot of education.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's part of it. It's networking, right? You
Right.
can sit in the classroom and learn, but I think being around other entrepreneurs and talking real business is how you really learn at the end of the day.
I love it. I feel the same way. I'm not a classroom kind of guy. So in that vein, Austin, talk to me. Have you always been this type of guy, an entrepreneurial guy, or did you have other aspirations before this kind of came into your life?
For sure. I mean, the original dream was to be an NBA ball player. My first love was basketball. That didn't work out, as you can see. So that was the first dream. But even with that, I always had like the hustler's mentality. Like I would flip candy in high school. I'd buy it from Sam's Club in bulk and then sell it individually. I had like a Buckeyes in Ohio are like really big, so you make Buckeye necklaces. So I would have me and my friends go out and find them and string them and make the necklaces. I'd pay them $2 a necklace to make. I'd sell it for $5 a necklace. So I always had like little entrepreneurial hustle, muscle, whatever you want to call it in me.
Yeah.
But then when basketball like fell out, I hated basketball. I think I just got burned out from it. I fell into real estate. I started reading books and it was like real estate. I was like, all right, real estate is going to be how I get rich. And then just dove in headfirst into real estate after that.
So you took your drive that you developed in sports and went to the real estate business and entrepreneurship full on.
100%. Yep.
So I'm assuming from day one, it was easy breezy, just like that, right?
Oh yeah, got rich the first week. No, I originally fell in love with passive income. Like that's what I started reading about. So that's rental properties. So I bought a duplex on Ohio State University's campus when I was 20 years old.
Jeez.
And I thought I was killing it. I was making like $1,000 a month, but I spent the $30,000 I had saved as a down payment. I was like, well, if I want to keep doing this, like I need to make money a lot faster than 20 years of saving to buy one property.
Right.
So then that's kind of when I fell into flipping houses. And from the day I decided to like flip houses to the day I make money flipping houses was a 16-month grind. So no, it did not happen overnight, but 16 months in, I flipped my first house and made $107,000 net profit and then reinvested it all and then just blew the business up from there.
Wow. That's awesome, dude. So at 20 years old, / going on 21, you decided not to ball out in the nightclubs because 30 grand, I'll tell you right now, man, in 2021, 30 grand for a lot of people, grown-ups, right? 40s, 50s is a lot of money. And for you to have that stashed away, for you to decide to put that somewhere productive, was that just something that came with your upbringing, or you already had that tenacity, or how did you have that focus?
That was kind of a blessing in disguise, honestly. So like from like my early teens, like I was hustling, trying to make some money, and I would always keep like hundreds. At 13 years old, like $500 is a lot of money. So I would just like keep it in my wallet and walk around with it. One day I lost my wallet and I lost a few $100s, and I was like crying to my parents. And they're like, well, how about we start putting money in the bank? I was like, yes, let's do it. It's protected, it's secured, right? So I started dumping money into the bank. And then as I got older, 15, 16, 17, I was trying to like buy, a Toyota Tacoma, a nice car, an ATV, a four-wheeler, a dirt bike. And I would always like look it up on the internet. And I'd be like, Mom, Dad, like, I want to buy this ATV. It's like $5,000. Like, let me get my money so I can buy the car. Cause I couldn't have a bank account in my name because I wasn't 18 years old. So it was my parents' name. It was just like my savings account. And I'll tell them like, give me the $5,000. And they'd be like, no. Like, what do you mean? No, it's my money. Give me my money. And they're like, no, like, you don't need that stuff. So it's a huge blessing in disguise looking back. At the time, I was pissed.
Sure.
But they taught me from a very young age to like save for I didn't even know what I was saving for. They've never been in real estate. I don't know if they knew it, but they knew what they were doing, telling me to save. And it was a blessing. And I was able to buy a house at 20 years old from the money I had saved.
That's beautiful. That's so huge because I mean, let's be honest. There's a ton of ways to make money, especially in this era, right? People can go do 3, 4, 5 side hustles, make a lot of money. It's that knowledge and the ability to keep the money 100%. And to rotate that money is key.
Yep. It's not about how much money you make, it's about how much you keep.
Man, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So obviously, you're talking about your dreams of being in the NBA and that, fell to the wayside and stuff like that. And I believe sometimes, the things that we want in life is only really preparing us for what we're really destined to be. So looking back, how old are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, no, I just turned 28.
28, son of a gun. So obviously you're super successful, 7-figure earner. Do you remember the first year that you made 7 figures and how old were you then? And what was your mindset then?
So 7 figures gross was 3 years ago, 2018, I think.
Okay.
And the mindset that I have now and the mindset I have then, way different, even now. I knew I could make money, but I didn't have the confidence that I have now. About 2 years ago is where like confidence like blew up inside of me. I was making money, I knew I could make some money, but like I didn't wholeheartedly, genuinely believe in myself and not care about anybody else's opinion until a couple years ago. When that happened, I feel like I can take over the world now. So confidence is huge, but I had a little bit of confidence. I was making a little bit of money. As you make money, you get more confidence. So I think that's kind of how like the first 7 figures happened. And then since then, it's just got, bigger and bigger. But again, I think the big difference is truly, truly, truly believing in yourself.
So how does someone obtain that? Because obviously, if anyone's watching this and they're seeing you for the first time, right? They're seeing this dude, not even 30 years old, carving out an industry for himself, making good money, living the life, having a beautiful background. I haven't been to Ohio, but I know that ain't Ohio back there, right? So talk to me about people that are looking at you, go, well, you know what? I can't relate because this guy just looks so successful from the jump. So you mentioned about confidence. How does one obtain that?
Yep. So being successful from the jump, I actually made a post literally yesterday on Instagram, and I just want to kind of put this in perspective. Like I came from where everybody's at. It was a picture of me in a Rolls Royce with the beach behind me. And I said, I remember when I had $100 in my bank account and hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. I remember when I was literally crying under my parents' dining room table because I felt like I was failing. I remember working 50, 60 hours per week at a job and going to college full time with no end in sight. I remember when my friends thought I was weird because I would never go out to party with them because I was working, but I was not making any money working, so they didn't know what I was working on. I remember all those dark times, but I remember the success I have now. So like I've been in everybody's shoes. I've got it from the mud. I wasn't blessed, with the silver spoon in my mouth. So I've been there before. But what gets you to where you want to go is here. And I've always been a big believer in the reading and the journaling and the manifestations and the affirmations and the putting yourself around the right people that force you to elevate. One of the big key differences when I went from truly believing in myself, I met one of my best friends about 3 years ago. And I don't know what it was, but from day one, he was always like, bro, you're the man, you're crushing it. You're going to take over the fucking world. And like, I didn't believe that, but I heard it 1,000 times from him. And I was like, man, like, yeah, I am the man. You know what I mean? And not in an arrogant style, but in a confident style. So, the power of putting yourself around the right people. And to me, the journaling, the reading, the affirmations, and the manifestations on a daily basis is what gets you to that point.
Okay, that's beautiful. Walk me through a day in your life or your morning routine then, if you wouldn't mind. I love that. You talk about journaling, you talk about reading. Touch on that a little bit if you wouldn't mind.
Absolutely. So wake up usually before 6ish, go down and hit the gym, work out, walk, run, whatever it is, get healthy. Come up, shower, eat breakfast. Usually do my manifestations in the shower. I'm just a big shower guy.
Hmm.
But I think about my future life, what I want it to look like. My affirmations are posted on my mirror next when I brush my teeth. So I'll read those then, and then I come into my office, read a book, and do journaling, and then kind of start with whatever the day has to offer at that point.
So your days always start on purpose, right?
For sure, 100%.
Yeah, because I think the majority of people, I mean, right now, honestly, a lot of people are still working from home. But, pre-COVID, you're looking at people that jump out of bed, rush to brush their teeth, comb their hair, and sit in traffic, and they're high stress from the jump, right, all the way to the end of the day, and then whatever's left over, I guess, they kick it off to their family and kids and what have you. So I think
Yeah,
being purpose driven is huge because every day then you have a direction.
for sure.
So
I mean,
in
don't get
in
me
the
wrong. Like there's days I oversleep and I wake up pissed off and mad at the world because I didn't have like my
mm,
me time in the morning. So it's more important than people think it is. Even getting up an extra 30, 60 minutes before what you normally do,
mhm.
just to give some time to yourself, is a game changer. So I agree with you. Too many people like chase life, but you got to
Hmm.
like prepare yourself for life. And that's what, for me, that's the mornings. It's the 6, 7, 8 o'clock before my phone starts ringing, before the problems start coming up. It's time for you. I don't even really look at my phone in the morning because you look at it and then you get distracted by like people messaging you or
Right.
calling you from the night before. I don't really look at my phone until 8, 9 o'clock in the morning because like I want to focus on me before that.
Beautiful, beautiful. Focusing on you. I think that's also another key point. Dropping gems, brother. I appreciate it. So let me ask you this. So if I was whether how old I am, I'm 45 now, but let's say I'm a 25-year-old kid, 45-year-old person, whatever. I'm listening to this and I go, man, Austin sounds like he has it together. You mentioned books, you mentioned being on purpose, you mentioned driven. What about the actual goal? Like, what is it that you're working for? You said you think about and visualize and you do affirmations. What's in the future for Austin that you always keep in the forefront?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So when I like first started, it was money. Let's
Mhm.
call it spade a spade. I wanted the money to have the nice things, to travel on the vacations, to live life how I wanted to live. But once you start making money, you realize like that's not enough. It's a great place to start. People are money motivated, but when you start making money, you're like, all right, this isn't enough. You know what I mean? So my purpose now is I love giving back to other people. I love changing other people's lives. I love putting out content because I get messages every day like, yo, I just retired because of you. Yo, I just bought
Mm,
my first house because of you. Yo, I just retired my mom because of you. Like those are the messages that I enjoy now. So my why is bigger than that. Is to give back to the people that helped me get to where I'm at, like my family, and giving back to other people in general. Touching thousands and thousands of people's lives is huge to me. But you have to have money to be able to do that.
right.
If you're broke, how many people's lives can you change? One, 5, 10, 20, and that's phenomenal. You know what I mean? But if you have millions or tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars, you can change thousands or tens of thousands of people's lives by the stroke of a check.
Mm,
So I believe that you have to have money. It's your due diligence. It's your God-given ability to create as much money as humanly possible to then give it back to the people that you want to give it back to.
it reminds me of a recent quote of all people I heard from Floyd Mayweather. Regardless of what you think of him as a promoter at this point, him the whole Logan Paul thing, which I think the Paul brothers are geniuses in marketing,
Agreed.
right? You can't take that away from him. And
Agreed.
people were clowning on Floyd, and Floyd said, "Hey, man, my legacy is set. And by the way, my kids can't eat legacy; they need money." And
Right.
it made me think about that. And I think sometimes people have that mindset, and it could be how they're raised too, where money is a bad connotation. They have a bad feeling towards it, right? And it's
Yep.
like if you don't feel good about money, how the heck are you gonna make, attract, or create money in your life?
100%. Like money's like an evil thing. I remember like back in the day when like it was kid, my parents
Mm,
would drive and like they'd like try and give my friend's mom money for like buying me lunch or something like that. And it was always a weird conversation about money. Like nobody liked to talk about it. It was like this evil thing. But I'm with you 100%. Like I talk about money everywhere to
mm,
everybody. I'm at like, how much the house costs? How much the boat cost? What do you pay
yeah.
month? What about this? What about my girlfriend's looking at me like stay out their business.
Right.
And I'm like that's me. Like I
Right.
love talking about money. Something cannot come into your life if it's not already in your life. So if you never talk about money, you ain't never gonna have money. I literally talk about money all the time, all day, every day to everybody. To a point, it's probably a little bit weird sometimes, but the more you talk about it, the more comfortable you become with it, which means the more money that's going to come into your life. So I couldn't agree with you more.
And it's funny, man. It depends on who you surround yourself with, right? And you're talking about, the mentorship and mastermind. You go around people like that, everyone talks about money. Everyone talks about deals. And I get super fired up when I hear somebody make, X amount or had like a record month. And or I find about somebody that just made a killer deal because they did a sweet negotiation. That stuff excites me and fires me up. And I think just like everyone else, if you guys are listening, it's that saying, right? Your network is your net worth. You got to surround yourself people using the same language and talking the same thing. So let me ask you this: for people that want to get involved in real estate and say, hey, in the world of real estate, I see all these infomercials all the time. I see all these commercials, and especially now in social media. Can someone with no education, no background in real estate, and just really want an engine or a vehicle to create wealth, in your opinion, can they really start from scratch in today's age?
Absolutely, 100%. I've done it. I've personally witnessed people do it. I've coached people to do it. Yes, there's this thing out there like, well, the market's saturated. There's too much competition. There's this, there's that. The market was saturated when I started. People were telling me the same thing. And like I was able to build, cut out a hole in the success and build my little niche inside of that. So the market's always going to be saturated, but there's always going to be opportunity as well. So absolutely, it's still very, very possible, 100%.
Beautiful, beautiful. I think you have to compare it to anything, any industry, right? Every industry is saturated when you really come down to it, but it's always that 1%er. And then within the 1%, there's the 1%er. So I think for people to realize how much of that pie do you really need to be in a situation where you're financially free or comfortable or not worrying about the bills anymore. People always think about, hell, man, I got to make 10 million a year. It's like, dude, what's an extra 50 G's a year, 100 grand a year going to do to your life, right? And I know in my life and me being a novice, those things have happened fairly quickly and it's changed my life. So don't give away all your secrets. I want to promote your program. But if I came to you and said, Austin, you know what? I just came out of high school. Give me maybe a 1, 2, 3 step on what I should do in the world of real estate to at least get my feet wet. What would it be?
100%. So the easiest path. So there's two things, right? To get to success. One is education, learning it. Two is implementation. It's that simple. Now there's 100 different niches in real estate that you can go down those routes. Usually the easiest is wholesaling. There's also Airbnb arbitrage. There's also subject to financing. There's also flipping houses using private money lenders. Like there's a lot of ways to get into the game with or without money at any age, by the way. Normally wholesaling is a great way to get started. And by the way, all of those things that I just mentioned start with finding the opportunity. If you can find the opportunity, you can control everything. So if you can learn how to market and how to negotiate, you're going to be set. So wholesaling is marketing for deals and connecting people. So driving for dollars is huge. So you can go out and just drive neighborhoods, door knock or cold call, and just ask people if they want to sell. But again, you have to learn what wholesaling is. So, you can go to YouTube. I got a YouTube channel. There's hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands of videos on YouTube that you can learn from. You can hire a mentor. You can buy a course. There's a lot of ways to learn, but you have to learn. And then you go out and you do the driving for dollars. You learn how to skip trace. You learn how to cold call. You learn how to evaluate deals. You learn how to make offers, and you learn how to find buyers. And then that's how you can get to the game of real estate.
Great. Part 2 of that question: how do you avoid falling into the trap of having a PhD in YouTube University? In other words, second part you were talking about is implementation. How does someone execute? Because that's the defining factor, right?
Yep. So no, 100%. Most people get stuck on the education phase. They never get to the implementation phase. 95% of people never get to the implementation phase. So as far as like I'll give you an example, right? Social media. For me, when I first started, I built this brand, have almost 1 million followers on social media, make 7 figures a year from social media. There was a point where I did not like the camera. There was a point where we would never be having this conversation. There was a point when someone whipped out a camera, I would literally run to the corner and hide because I didn't want my face to be on camera. So taking that to where it is now, there's obviously a process there. I remember the first time I did a Instagram live. Like this is actually doing the implementation phase. First time I was like, all right, I'm going to go live on Facebook and I'm going to talk, right? I took my journal and I journaled everything I was going to say on my journal and I put it on my desk. So if I lost track of what I was going to say, I would know exactly where to pick up on it. I put my water bottle in front of me. I put my phone on the water bottle. I went to the live section and all you have to do is click live and then you're live.
Right.
And I kid you not, I stared at the button for an hour straight. An entire hour, I fought myself on all the reasons why I should not click the live button. What if nobody gets on? What if I screw up? What if somebody talks shit? What if this? What if that? What if all these negative things? An hour. I was in San Diego with one of my boys and he came down. He's like, bro, you good? Like, you haven't talked. You're just looking at the camera.
Right, right.
And finally, I clicked play and I started talking, and like 30 seconds into the thing, there, like, you can see how many like people are watching you. 30 seconds in, it was 0. And I was like, no, screw this. Picked up the camera, click cancel, and then it says confirm cancel. And I was about to click it, and I was like, nah, like if I cancel it, like I'm never going to change anything in my life.
Right.
Like I have to do this. So I set the camera back down, finished the live. It was awful. I stumbled over all my words, but I made it through. And then we're obviously here today. So that's like one example of just forcing yourself to implement. You have to force yourself to implement. There will be failure. There will be dark times. There will be losses of money. All of that will happen. But if you just start, that'll get you going in the right direction. And I promise you, you do not need to know it. Learn how to market and then start marketing. Then when you get calls, you're like, oh crap, I got to learn how to talk to sellers. Then go learn how to talk to sellers.
Yep.
Then you talk to sellers and you're like, oh man, this is a deal. I got to make an offer. Then go learn how to make offers. Then you get a property under contract. You're like, oh crap, I got to find another buyer to make money on this. Then go learn how to find buyers. You don't need to know A to Z. You need to know like A to E to get started.
That's beautiful, man. That's awesome. It's pushing that button or getting out or hopping in the car or just making that first phone call. And the misconception people have is that success should happen right away. And it's not, you know, everything you mentioned about people talking shit, people not relating or, you know, fumbling on your words like I almost did now, things of that nature, it's always going to happen. I don't care how long you've been in the industry or doing whatever you're doing, you're going to have those days or you're just going to have a brain freeze and you're not going to be in your A game. So I think forgiving yourself on mistakes is huge. I think just realizing that over time, consistency is the key, right?
100%. I mean, even I struggle with things today. You know, there's still times I whip out the camera and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this today. Or I don't look good today. And you just got to do it. Like we all still go through those times. You know, nobody's perfect at the end of the day. Like your struggles, I still have the same struggles. You know, I just immediately flip the switch and get through it because I've busted through it a million times before, rather than my first time trying to, you know, go against uncomfortability. But when uncomfort sets in, that's when you know it's time for growth.
So what I got from this is you're telling me I should get my ass on TikTok, huh?
Absolutely. We're not, all jokes aside, bro, TikTok has changed my life. Like people think it's a game. Like it has changed the game.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, I'm not going to keep you too much longer. Like I said, I want your secrets to be secrets because you have a great program that I want to promote in a little bit. But let's talk about Austin. You mentioned your lady. So you have a lady in your life. Yep. What do you guys do for fun? What's your downtime like? Because life-work balance, once you get to a certain level, I mean, if you don't enjoy it, what's it all for, right? So 100%. What is your day like with your lady, or what is your time off? What are the fruits of your labor?
For sure. So we love to travel. So I mean, we moved here 5 weeks ago. We've been in Florida for like 2 of the 5 weeks. So like we love traveling, we love exploring, we love new experiences. So that's a big why is like travel for us. But yeah, travel is definitely our free time and our fruits.
And you mentioned earlier, by the way, my wife and I feel the same way. We don't have a lot of tangible things that we're attached to. I mean, if I don't live in my house, I can live anywhere, but seeing the world and traveling and being with your significant other, that's huge, man. So you spoke to my heart on that. But that being said, the tangible, shiny stuff is also fun. So talk to me about your ride. Talk to me, because that had to have been a vision board thing, a thing that you manifested because it was a dream car, I'm assuming, right?
Yep. So I got a Rolls-Royce Wraith about a year ago. I bought a Chrysler 300 freshman year of high school because it looked like a Rolls-Royce. So it's been something I wanted for ever. Finally pulled the trigger about a year ago. But at the end of the day, I could have bought a Rolls-Royce 4 years ago, 5 years ago. But I understood investing into the future. So, I have a rental portfolio of almost $10 million at this point. Like I invested into the right areas to pay me for the rest of my life. So anytime I buy something new nowadays, I figure out how to make somebody else pay for it. So the Rolls Royce, for an example, I ended up buying a ton of land in an area for like 10 grand a piece. And now they're worth over 100 grand a lot. So what did I do to get the rolls? I decided to sell one piece of land for the down payment. So, put 100 grand down on the car, and then my payments, I don't know, like a grand or something like that. So then I was like, all right, how can I get that for free? All right, well, I got to buy 5 more rental properties to then cover my Rolls Royce payment. So then I went out and found a way to buy 5 more rental properties to then cover the payment, and then I bought the car. So anything I do in life, I try to figure out how to like get somebody else to pay for it or create newfound income to pay for whatever I want to do.
That, you know what, man, there's something there. And I want people to listen to that part one more time, because I think the mistake of the common man, common woman is, let's say you make a good salary. Let's say it's 100 grand, right? And 100 grand for most people in America is a great, comfortable salary.
Yep.
But the mistake people make is they try to squeeze everything out of that 100 grand.
Yep.
And then when that 100 grand runs out, they squeeze that in debt. Now all of a sudden you're spending 200 grand out of the 100 grand that you grossed, right? Yeah. So I love that mindset. It's like, hey, if I have a dream house, I have a dream car, what am I creating that's going to cover that expense? And for you, you found real estate. So that's wonderful, man. And again, I want people to really listen to that part again, because I think that's a mind trap that people have of overspending.
100%. I'm trying to find this thing. I'm making a video on TikTok, and like, as soon as we get done, give me 3 seconds. I want people to use it as exactly what we're talking about. So the biggest excuse for not having wealth, and it was going to be like a conversation between two people, and it was going to be like, I don't have time. Well, why don't you have time? Because I have a job. Why do you have a job? Because you need one. Why do you need one? Because I have bills to pay. Why do you have bills to pay? Because I have debt. Why do you have debt? Oh, because I took on debt, or I went to college, or I bought that vehicle that put me into debt. So the reason you work that you don't have time is because you have debt that you have to pay for. So why not recreate the wheel and buy good debt that pays for all your bad debt? Now it's not you working, it's your money working to pay those things off. So I couldn't agree more. People get caught up in the, looking for like fancy now and buying the watches and the cars and the houses that they really can't afford. And then the rest of their life, they're chasing to keep up with those payments. So put it like this. Let's say you got 50 grand to buy a car, right? You're going to buy a car, you're going to cash out on it. It's the car of your dreams. Why not delay that a year and take that 50 grand and buy 2 rental properties that you make $400 a month in profit on, and then buy those rentals. Now you own 2 assets that will appreciate over time, and you can depreciate on taxes. And you take that cash flow of $800 a month and buy the same car you were just going to buy. Now you have both things. One is an asset paying for a liability rather than just a liability that depreciates over time. So you can have everything you want. You just have to buy the asset before the liability, because the asset will pay for the liability.
That's Rich Dad 2.0, ladies and gentlemen.
For sure.
Yeah, that's beautiful, dude. So let me ask you a couple of more questions on a personal level. So for you, you mentioned earlier that, hey, there are days that you're not on your A game. You're human, right?
Yep.
I think the conversations you're talking about, that you have with other people is important, but I think the biggest conversation that you have is with yourself.
Yep.
So when you get stuck, when you're in a rut, or when you feel like, you're not on your A game, how do you get yourself out of it? And how do you prevent yourself from staying in a rut too long? Because I don't care what decimals, what commas, or what zeros you have in the bank, people are people. You're going to feel those things from time to time. So how do you get out of a rut, number one? And then I'll ask a follow-up question after that.
100%. Everybody gets in a rut, like you said. The difference is some people are in a rut for a minute, some are for a week, some are for a month, some are for a year, some are for a lifetime. So it's how quickly do people get out of that rut? And for me, normally when I get in a rut, it's usually because I've deterred from my morning routine. I've went a week and I didn't journal, or I forgot to do my affirmations or manifestations. So when I get in that rut, I go back to what got me to these points, which is the journaling, the reading, the affirmations, and the manifestation. So 99% of the time, that's usually why I'm there. So I use those reasons to get me out of it as well.
Beautiful. Next question is, my wife and I visit Florida 3-4 times a year. I might have to make a pit stop to Fort Lauderdale.
Absolutely.
I get to see the Rolls Royce, right?
Absolutely, brother. 100%. Would love to connect.
Well, let me ask you this, my brother. I appreciate it. We're gonna have to do this again, and I owe you a nice lunch when we do link up. And I hope in the future we'll be able to do things together. I like to keep these short because I know you guys are super busy, and you donating your time to me like this, a guy that's starting out, says a lot about your character. So, give me a message to give to the audience. Whatever situation they are in life, I don't care if they're starting out or if they've been seasoned in entrepreneurship. What are some of the tidbits that you want to pass on? And if you pass it on to just one person, you feel like you've lived your life's mission. The floor is yours, sir.
For sure. So when I think it was 15 or 16 years old, I had a mentor in basketball that taught me, a lot of things that I know about basketball. One thing that he always said is that when you're not out there working, remember that somebody's out there working to take your spot. So that doesn't mean work 24/7, 365. That just means be conscious of your time. Time is literally the most valuable asset in the world and will ever be in the world. It's the only thing in the world that you can never get more of. You can get more of time. I mean, money, you can get more of air. You can literally buy air canisters. You can get more of everything you want except time. So if somebody has a goal of what they want to make in a year, call it $250,000 in a year. You take 250 grand, you divide it by 2,080, which is 40-hour work weeks, 52 weeks a year. That means your time's worth $120 an hour. So don't be doing things that don't, equivalent to being $120 an hour. So if you watch 3 hours of TV, remember you just burnt $360. Now, again, there comes a time and a place where you can enjoy those things. But when you're building something, you need to be very, very conscious of where you're putting your time. So that's always helped me get to, where I'm at and be conscious of that, because literally once you waste it, it's gone and you'll never get it back.
You set and determine what your hourly wage is worth, and then you ask yourself, what I'm doing, is it worth my hourly wage?
100%.
That's it for myself. That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. That's a great way to think about it for people that tend to kind of waste time by doing things that kind of numb you, whether it's TV or whatever it may be. And really for people that have businesses too, because I'm sure you fell into this a little bit in the beginning, is relinquishing control and scaling, right? The biggest mistake in scaling, and I'm going through this self-admittedly, I'm talking to myself more than anything else right now, is delegating. Because if you free up your time, you can do the bigger picture of the business, 100%. So that's a great message for anyone starting out and anyone that's seasoned. Just a quick reminder. So Austin, do a little bit self-promotion, brother. I know you're a huge mentor in this space. Talk about some of the programs. I'll link your YouTube channel, your social media into this profile video. But talk to me a little bit about what you offer.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So if I personally answer all my messages on Instagram, so that's where everybody can connect with me at. But as far as coaching, I've been able to help a lot. I got two 19-year-olds that made 150 grand already in 2021. So I love coaching. I have a course. It's called the Real Estate Blueprint. And I do vacation masterminds as well, which we talked about at the beginning of this. But people will fly in from all over the country and learn and network and mastermind for one another. So, if either way, if you want to get started in real estate or if you want to grow from where you're at, would love to connect. Like I said, message me on Instagram and I can give you more details on either of those.
And I'll provide all that on this video. I'll link to that in this video. When's your next mastermind? Do you have a plan for the next one?
So we're finalizing it now, but we're thinking it'll be the first weekend of November in Jamaica. So that's what we're shooting for.
Okay. All right. Let me lean in on that, because you're one that you just had in Mexico. Literally, we were in Mexico 3 weeks after you guys, or 2 weeks after you guys. I was telling my wife, I was like, man, if we had known, we would have linked up for sure and done that. Be productive as well too, as being on a little bit of vacation. So I look forward to it, man. So like I said, I thank you. People like you, regardless of whatever industry, man, your energy and your spirit is what we need. We want to make sure we help people get out of a rut that's been seasoned or have age or whatever. And we also want to make sure the young generation realize this as well too, man. Your future is in your hands. It's your destiny to achieve it. So 100%. I thank you, man. This is awesome. Like I said, I don't want to keep anyone too long. We'll definitely do this again. We'll link up, and I owe you lunch big time, and look forward to seeing you, but also the roles too.
Absolutely. Appreciate you having me on, brother.
Thank you, man. We'll talk soon. All right.
All right. Sounds good.
Take care.